They have efficiency kitchens. You don't need a dining plan if you live in Hilltop, but it's just kind of another option that Purdue Residence Hall Systems gives more choices. So maybe they don't want a single room if they want their own kitchen and stuff like that. They have Hilltop as a choice. And Purdue is also the largest residence hall system that is not required for its freshmen. We have about a third of our students living in our residence hall system, and about over 90% of our freshmen choose to live in the dorms. We are now entering an area known as Tower Acres. There's a lot of fraternities and sororities up here. I like to talk about the sorority on the right because that's Tri-Delts, or Delta Delta Delta, and apparently that's the largest sorority house in the country. Purdue has a very large and involved Greek system. We have 47 fraternities, 31 sororities, and 12 co-ops. As you see in your script, it's important to mention some international students aren't familiar with fraternities and sororities, so it's kind of good to explain it. So fraternities and sororities are kind of named after, they have a lot of tradition in their Greek, and they have Greek names. And it's basically where a bunch of guys or a bunch of girls get together, and they do a lot of a bunch of guys live in a guy's house, and a fraternity and a bunch of girls live in a sorority. And they do a lot of community service and around there. A lot of community service and social events. Co-ops are similar to fraternities and sororities, but they're a little bit cheaper, and you do a lot more chores around the house and cook and stuff like that. One area that we'll be going past, which I'll make Kyle point out, is called the Island. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but a lot of fraternities and sororities are actually moving from on campus up into the acres as land becomes available. The newest addition being VIC. VIC used to be located right near the VIC at the intersection of Grant and Northwestern and Fowler and Wiggins, in that weird intersection. But they built a new house out here, and they just moved out here recently within the past few years, I believe.
PMO bought that property.
Huh? PMO bought? Oh yeah, PMO bought where VIC used to be, and they're building a new hall called Bailey Hall. And that's where the PMO will be practicing. Are we passing the golf course? I don't know which.
I will.
Okay, so I won't talk. Okay. As we turn left, you'll be able to see on your left, we kind of passed already, is the Purdue Water Tower. It's basically used as a Purdue water supply. Our water supply is supposed to last until 2035. Our tour script doesn't say what's going to happen after that, but apparently we're going to run out of water in 2035. The water tower used to be red and white. Because of the airport we have on campus, that's why there's not many extremely tall structures up in the acres. But if you may have noticed, our big rival, in-state rival, Indiana University, their colors are red and white, aka cream and crimson. And Purdue wasn't too happy about having a huge red and white structure at the top of their campus. So we asked if we can repaint it, and the FAA said, sure, as long as you put a red blinking light on top so the planes don't run into it. So far, no planes have crashed into it. Knock on wood. On our right, I like to point out how you get a nice view of campus and the skyline view. And also, you'll see some of our baseball fields. Kyle will pass this in a little bit, but there's a new athletic complex being built west of campus, and right now some of these fields will be moving out there. I'll stop talking about it, so Kyle has something to talk about.
I don't have it in the paper. So.
Oh, sorry. On our left is Slater Hill, and the stage is called Slater Center. It's named after Dr. Game Slater, and he was known as the father of fiberglass, so that's one other thing we have here at Purdue. Dr. Slater played tuba in the Purdue Marching Band, and the Purdue Marching Band didn't really have a place to have pep rallies before football games. So he donated money to build this structure, which is kind of modeled after Stonehenge. So before football games, our band and our dance team and the twirlers and everyone, they all have a nice pep rally show there, and people park on the hill for tailgating. And it's also a great place to go sledding in the winter. A lot of students don't have sleds, so they steal dining trays, which is not encouraged, but they steal dining trays from the residence halls. They try going down on those. People get car hoods. I've seen sofas, chairs, anything you have. People get hurt.
Still play it.
Huh? Oh yeah, when they had the road closed, if you got a really good sled, you can go down the hill, cross stadium, and go down the other hill. Yeah, but make sure you have someone watching out for cars if it's open. As we turn left, no, we're not turning left, that's a one-way. Oh, crash. On our left is Cary Quadrangle. It's named after Franklin Levering Cary Jr. Franklin Levering Cary Sr. Yeah, try saying that 3 times. had a son who was going to come to Purdue, and right before he came to Purdue, he died of appendicitis at age 18.
There's
Purdue-
Melissa. We need to pick up Melissa.
We need to pick up Melissa.
When we turn, after we
Are we
turn.
a new loop for the transportation center? Yes, we are.
This is also a city bus. But Franklin Leonard Carey Sr. made his fortune kind of developing the welded baseball catcher's mask. So he donated money to build this residence hall in his son's honor. It's kind of known as the flagship of Purdue Residence Halls, and it's the oldest existing residence hall. It's had some renovations and expansions as we go.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do they close our same for the basketball? They close the street, McKinney Street.
No,
Oh my gosh.
We can go out.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, Melissa.
Oh my gosh.
One thing you'll find is that the tour route will always change on a whim's notice, and then you just have to kind of go with it.
Don't let me know.
Okay, never mind. Yes.
We're special.
We have Jill. She knows what she's doing.
have clouds.
She jumped a curb yesterday to pass a car.
We ramped.
And we ramped the curb. In the middle of Cary Quadrangle is what's known as Spitzer Court. They used to have an event called the Nude Olympics. We don't do that anymore on campus, but it's still funny. You see here people waiting to get in for the basketball game. Who do we play? Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah, Minnesota. Let's get some revenge and win. So let's talk about Mackey Arena on the right. You'll see people of the paint crew waiting in line to get in. They're waiting to get into what's known as Mackey Arena. This is where Purdue's men's football team, basketball team, currently plays. It's named after a guy, Red Mackey, who used to be our athletic director. The court is named after Gene Cady. We have Cady Court there. And Gene Cady was one of the all-time winningest NCAA college Division I basketball coaches without a national championship win. But he's still a legendary coach, and we kind of started the legendary rivalry with Indiana University with him and Bob Knight. On your right is the IAF. That's where the Purdue wrestling and Purdue volleyball team plays. It's also where the ticket office is right now. Purdue volleyball, my neighbors are on the volleyball team, and they said Purdue has one of the best and hardest places to play in terms of the fans. On your right, we passed the statue of a Boilermaker. So I'm not going to talk about the Boilermakers, but I will talk about this. Who knows not the tour guides, the new people. Who is Purdue's official mascot? Yes. Oh yeah, you're an intern, you don't count. Purdue? Intern! Yes, Purdue Pete is not our mascot. He is our unofficial athletic mascot, but the Boilermaker Special is our mascot.
It's the fastest one too.
It's the fastest and loudest and biggest
largest
mascot.
and heaviest.
And heaviest.
All the games, the awesome.
It goes to all the games, home and away. The hardest tour you ever give is the one where you give to people in the VIC because you just constantly get heckled. Okay. On your right, we just passed the Mollenkoff Athletic Center. It's a big indoor football practice center. Basically, the football team practices there, the baseball team will practice there, and the golf team will practice there. It's named after Jack Mollenkoff, who took Purdue to its first Rose Bowl appearance in 1967, where we defeated USC 14-13.
Yes!
Yay!
I was not even.
On your right is Purdue football outdoor athletic practice fields. There is one that's real grass, Bermuda grass, and there's one that's field turf, which is athletic turf. So if we're playing an away game where they have real grass, we'll practice on the real grass field, and vice versa with the field turf. Where there used to be a Grand Prix go-kart track here. You guys all know what it is, but Grand Prix is a kind of a really big tradition here on campus. The go-kart track used to be here and was moved out west, where Kyle will show you where the new athletic complex is. And Grand Prix is a big tradition. It's called the greatest spectacle in college racing, where student clubs and fraternities, maybe sororities, will build go-karts and race them. We also just started the EV Grand Prix, where we raced
Electric.
hang on. Where we raced thank you. Where we raced electric cars, and actually the College of Technology is working with Indy 500 to see if we can get them to do an EV go-kart race before the Indy 500 next year. Are you doing?
I am.
Okay. Do you want to do this?